for when it rains.
Okay.
If I can remember the words. Every time it rains pennies from heaven. Don't you know each cloud contains pennies from heaven? You'll find your fortune falling all over town. Be sure that your umbrella or your plastic is upside down. Trade it for a pocket full of sunshine and flowers. When you want the things you love, you must have showers. So when you hear it thunder, don't go under a tree. There'll be pennies from heaven for you and for me. There you are.
Beautiful.
Then you'd have a big musical interlude. Blah, blah. You have to imagine that.
Well, now, can you try to step off the table carefully, maybe using the chair?
Like this.
And then just fall forwards. Just fall gracefully forwards.
And dive.
Oh,
Do the swallow, yeah.
It's what you would have wanted.
It's what I...
Down into
Here I go.
down
It's
into
been
the
lovely.
What do you think?
So, Gavin, tell us about your.
Oh.
Can we talk about your connection to Extinction Rebellion?
Oh.
Or do you like to? Is that something that you're not going to talk about so much?
Extinction Rebellion is over. The rebellion is done. No. Yes. What is my connection to Extinction Rebellion? I mean, that's the easy answer. I think that I'm of the opinion that that unless there's an incredibly fast, rapid transformation of the way that people think and the way they behave and the way that they understand carbon and their footprint and their everybody and also the systemic change necessary, human beings aren't going to make it. And so it seemed that Extinction Rebellion was a moment in time when lots of young people got together and kind of tried to push their point, and they did it through kind of getting arrested and through civil disobedience, peaceful civil disobedience, and got some media attention, and now possibly the media attention's turned a little bit against them, and people have kind of got used to this new form of cognitive dissonance. So maybe they've lost the edge. I think the pandemic again. Sorry to bring that into the conversation again, but I think that did have a kind of taking people off the streets kind of action. But yeah, I mean, I'm a supporter. Yeah, and then now obviously you've got some splinter groups like Just Stop Oil, who have used the National Gallery and various old school art establishments to kind of raise the bar a bit, and sprayed orange paint on some city buildings, which just kind of creating mild trouble, which gets media attention, so it puts the story back into the front pages of the newspaper where it actually should be. And the point is, if no one does anything, if no one actually goes out and does stupid things, it sort of drifts back to sort of page 7. Maybe it doesn't even come in the newspaper, and it's actually like it's not going away. It's in fact every day it's getting worse and worse. I mean, we're not gonna hit any of the targets that seemingly keep getting set and keep getting promised, and all those promises are just getting kind of pushed away. So it seems that this is one of the main issues of the day.
Yeah, and what do you think of, as an artist? How do you respond when you see people attacking?
Yeah,
Van Goghs
I mean, I think, at one point I was invited to glue myself to a picture, and I found it quite difficult, like the idea of me as an artist gluing myself to another artwork. I didn't really like that idea. It didn't really appeal to me. But having said that, I'm planning on staging a kind of a strange performance where I just have myself photographed walking into the National Gallery carrying some tomato soup, which to all intents and purposes could have me arrested, because if you're now carrying anything which might link you to any civil disobedience, like in theory you could just get arrested. So yeah, so it's like a lethal weapon, a can of soup.
Yeah, that's very interesting, and it's a kind of it brings up just a trace of Warhol as well with the Campbell's soup.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I know that's not intentional, but
Well, it is. I think it is. It sort of is intentional. I mean, it's interesting, obviously, that the soup that they managed to find was Heinz soup rather than Campbell's soup. I don't think Campbell's soup's necessarily so readily available.
They may not have had that degree of art history.
No. So I think it was more sort of. It was more a type.
I had an idea to do something in like the National Gallery as well. This was for years ago. Just basically get a normal painting from somewhere, wrap it in a blanket, walk into the place, and then just surreptitiously, I don't know how you can do that, and then just turn around and start running with this big painting under a blanket.
Okay.
To see what happens.
Okay. Yeah.
That wasn't very political. That was just pure nonsense, really.
Well, that was sort of agit-prop kind of performance. A bit like I think Banksy went into the National Gallery and kind of managed to put some work on the wall somewhere and a label, which is sort of quite a similar sort of thing. I did have an idea about some sort of art heist or an art theft, because obviously one of the most important paintings in the world is the Mona Lisa, and one of the reasons why it's so important is because it's been stolen a few times, and it's actually the gap on the wall that makes it more important. Like the Edvard Munch Scream is kind of become a super important painting, possibly by virtue of it being stolen.
I mean, I think in a way the kind of overarching thesis here is how do you get people's attention, and how do you get people to kind of stay on topic and stay into this crisis moment. And the word emergency is so kind of such an inappropriate word, because you can't keep talking about an emergency when no one's behaving any different. And so I think it's starting to kind of become something which doesn't really work anymore. And how do you like Gavin back in 2018 when Extinction Rebellion was first starting out, said I'm just going to go and check out what they're doing on these bridges. And then I said, don't get arrested. At which point I got a phone call and he obviously got arrested. and my immediate thought, apart from feeling a bit yeah, right, that was so predictable, was and feeling a bit worried, because you're kind of there's still an idea that somehow police can be a not a safe space, as well as it's hard to understand what that is as somebody who cares about somebody else, but obviously probably fine. And then it was, how do we get press, because that seemed to be the only thing that made sense of it. And so to be able to then kind of somehow get a journalist interested and for them to get media attention, I think that's the same as you sleeping on the bed up here, or the kind of the kind of the kids who are chucking Campbell's soup at the Van Gogh. It's these are just stunts that kind of that somehow can get people attention for 5 seconds, to just sort of kind of, whether it be media attention or whether it's into people's kind of subconsciousness. And people who sort of talk about that, this is giving them giving the cause a bad reputation. Well, obviously the bed is not, but that it's a negative attention, I think is missing the point, because we've got to be having the debate at all times. Do we care about a Van Gogh painting of sunflowers more than the sunflowers themselves? Or how do we get to be self-sufficient with our energy in our homes, if no one seems to be kind of like having any kind of strategy around doing that. And we have to kind of just keep people thinking about it and talking about it. And that's ultimately, for every person who's having a negative response, another 10 are quietly in their mind processing what's going on and sort of making up their own mind about it. And I think I think what's needed is the next step, though. We need to now start really doing the practical steps as a population. I'm still thinking about within the UK. I can't quite go beyond the UK, but although actually we've got lots of people with communities that we're kind of connected with all over the world, but it's sort of, how can we as a population here like start to kind of make the transformations and the steps that we need to do to start actually turning this sort of kamikaze journey around. And that requires the stories and the imagination in everyone. And so art projects like this is kind of a way of getting people's imaginations going and getting their kind of creative energy, and so thinking actually that looks quite good fun. I'm sure it has its moments of not being fun, but that looks quite good fun, and if Gavin's prepared to get arrested, maybe there's something. And but then also kind of how do you translate that into things that people can do practically in their community and in their world and in their kind of in their school and in their where enough people are going, yeah, we want this, we want transformation, we want change. And then the national, I'm committed to education, and it's like the national curriculum is just not fit for the 2022. Like we're not, the young people are not processing and exploring and investigating the things that are going to be needed for the next few years of their life. And so they know that there's the cognitive dissonance there, which is why there's such a kind of crisis of mental health issues and kind of like and school refusal, and and even the kids that are doing really well at school are kind of knowing somewhere this is not right. I'm not like this job that have got in my mind to be going towards is potentially not going to be there, or the community is going to be really transformed, and we've got to start getting people to process what that means and what that looks like. And right now I think we're we can only do it through cultural interventions.